My mother died afraid and unable to understand what was happening to her, and it's our family's greatest shame. I need to get this out. I knew my mom was sick in 2015. I was 19 and I moved away from home, and she came to visit me, and something was wrong. She asked the same questions repeatedly. She forgot some people's names. It was subtle, but I was scared enough to text my dad about it while she was sitting at the table next to me. I think you should get her brain checked. He didn't respond to that text. Later, I found out that when she returned from her visit, he showed her what I said, and they both laughed about how paranoid I was. I moved home the next year. She had gotten worse, but marginally, and no one else seemed concerned at all. My dad blamed it on her being on that damn tablet too much, playing her app games. No one seemed to wonder how she was spending hundreds of dollars a month on microtransactions without realizing she was doing it. My mom wasn't a technology wizard, but she was far better at computers than the average boomer. It didn't add up. Over the next several years, more and more seemed to go wrong. She forgot her social security number and claimed she never knew it. She forgot how to drive. She forgot how to sign her name. She forgot how to order at restaurants. She forgot how to hold a knife and fork. I could go on. I begged my dad to get her to a doctor, but he didn't think it was anything with her brain. He still thought she was just using her iPad too much. My oldest sister knew there was something wrong. My other siblings either had no clue at all or were actively in denial like my dad was. I gave my parents ultimatums. I stopped speaking to them for months at one point, saying I would only speak to them again if they showed me proof she went to a doctor. Still didn't happen. Years of this went on. My aforementioned oldest sister died unexpectedly in February of this year. I moved home in March to be with my family. When I got there, I saw my mom was beyond worse. She was barely recognizable. She couldn't remember the names of my oldest friends, people that had been deeply close with our family for decades. She could not be left alone. She stopped remembering how to use her phone and even forgot how to use her iPad and play the games that she used to waste hours on. She watched the same movies over and over again. She was effectively gone, not my mother anymore. My dad finally admitted to me that when he had actually taken her to a doctor in February of 2022, and the doctor told him it was a frontal temporal dementia, 7 years after I noticed the symptoms. She died in October, just a few weeks before my 28th birthday, and a month before she would have been 62. She died so afraid and confused. No one told her why she was sick. If I tried to say the word dementia to my dad while she was still coherent, he would get angry at me and demand I stop saying that in case she hears me. She repeatedly would say things like, I used to be able to do XYZ, but I'm stupid now. And she would call herself stupid and dumb for not being able to do things she once could. While she was dying in her deathbed, she turned to me and asked me, why is this happening to me? It's one of the last full sentences that came out of her mouth. I couldn't answer. It was too late. She couldn't understand or remember anything I said now, even if I tried. I tried for years to get answers from my mom, and it felt like no one was helping me. She died terrified. I am so overwhelmed by guilt over this and filled with resentment too. Why wasn't someone helping me? Why was everyone so steep in denial? I don't know. I'm heartbroken. The thing is, like, as we get older, right, no one really prepares us for our parents getting sick or terminally ill, right? Like speaking from experience, because a lot of you guys already know my dad has Parkinson's, right? And it's not as severe as dementia, things like that. But it still does something to you to see your parents in that kind of vulnerable state and to like question, like my dad has said that to me too. Like, why is this happening to me? And in your situation, like it sucks because like my dad is maintainable, right? It's not terminal, thankfully. But in your case, it's like you had the signs and you were on your family for so long, push them to go to the doctor. I'm not blaming you because with dementia, there's nothing you could have done to prevented it. Could you have maintained it better for her? Maybe, but not, you can't prevent it. I've like when those things happen, you have to take initiative and like you should have taken her to the doctor. Like you shouldn't have put that on your dad. Again, you were 19. I know you're young. I can't even ask that of you. That's so young. But like as siblings, like that's something like we all discuss too. It's like we all have to come together and watch out for our parents. And it sucks that your dad was in denial and you're going to have that memory forever, like knowing that your mom went in the way she did. And this is just something like, I don't know of a way that you can like comfort or get that ease from her passing because you can't, because you have such a traumatic association to her death. And all you can think about is, I said something. No one listened to me. They thought I was crazy. And my mom left in the ways that she did. And you can't help but feel guilty. And that's okay. Like, that's just kind of the part of way of life. And it sucks that it happens. There's nothing you could have done. There was nothing in your power at all that could have prevented. Dementia is one of those really difficult things that it's very hard to see someone go through, let alone experience yourself. That was going to come full force in a matter of time. I just think therapy might be a good solution just to, even without your dad, just with yourself. So how you can go on knowing that you did the best that you could would help you. But you can't try. Of course you can. Yeah, you can hold it in, but like try not to, or else you're always going to have a very bad association with your mom's death, and try not to look at it that way. Easier said than done, I know. Am I the asshole for disinviting my sick grandmother from my wedding? Oh man. Off the bat, I'm going to say yeah, but maybe she did something to deserve it. But she's sick. Why would you say that she's sick? Why is that important? Why is that relevant? Did you not invite her because she's sick? My grandmother is my only living grandparent, and she's my hero. When I was a kid, she beat stage 4 lung cancer. And when I had my own, less severe diagnosis of cancer, she was there for me even more than my parents. I hope people believe me when I say this. This decision to exclude her from my wedding is not one made lightly. However, I genuinely think it is to be for the best. My fiance and I are getting married in about 8 months. Been engaged for close to 3. We hadn't intended for such a long engagement, but it's where the dice fell. Initially, when planning the wedding, I absolutely wanted my grandmother there and sent her an invite. But about a year ago, she had a massive stroke. To make this absolutely clear, everything was planned and booked before she had the stroke. She's 90 years old, and the family was kind of astonished she even made it. However, she's been in really bad shape since. On her good days, she still needs a walker to get around, though oftentimes requires a wheelchair. Unfortunately, our wedding takes place in an old historical location that is not wheelchair friendly. The ceremony space is quite a walk across a field from the reception area. All in all, not very suitable for my grandmother in her current state. I tried to see if we could move the venue, but the wedding was already paid off, and the contract states we can't get a refund if we choose to cancel. So by moving locations, we'd be out $20,000. We're paying for the wedding ourselves and scraped together every dime we had to pay for it. So this isn't a hit we could financially bear. It broke my heart immensely coming to the realization my grandmother couldn't be there, especially worrying if she tried to push herself, it could harm her health further. And she refuses to accept it. She insists she'll make it there with her walker, but she can't even get through a grocery store trip, let alone an Aldi event. I suggested we have someone in front of the ceremony video call her, or have us married at a courthouse beforehand so she could be there for the actual marriage and still use the wedding as more of a celebration party. Hell, I would have been willing to get married in the damn parking lot. However, she's the type of stubborn and headstrong person to refuse to accept her limitations, and she was practically offended I would entertain the idea of ruining my own wedding or suggest she is less of capable of being there in person, and is now very upset with me that I've said if she refuses all of my compromises, then it may be for the best she not attend. Family members are equally angry with me for crushing her hopes to see me get married and have been giving me loads of shit, even though they're well aware of her condition and agree it would be virtually impossible to have her be there. The only one on my side is my fiance, which has me wondering if I really am the asshole for not letting her try to attend despite knowing it likely won't end well. Am I? Okay, yeah, I can see why people are mad at you. Can't say how my I look so nice right now. Okay, back to focus. I would hire someone, a caregiver, whatever, someone to transport her. They have like these types of people that can like lift, delift, and like move them around if she really wants to be there and she means that much, which sounds like that. I think there's a will, there's a way. And then at any time, you get a hotel nearby, and then at any time during the ceremony that she's really tired or she's out of it, you have them take her back. And then if you have family around, I think if you really wanted to, you have that conversation with them and you guys say, hey, grandma wants to come, I need everyone's help to make sure she's okay. But you don't just tell her, hey, I think it's for the best that you don't come. You leave that up to her. If she made a decision, I'm sorry, I can't come, then that's different. But for someone to tell you, hey, you can't come, I think that's what rubs people the wrong way. Okay, wait, he does have an edit. I'll answer some frequently asked questions that I've seen so far. She does have a part-time caregiver come by her house a couple of days a week to bring groceries and take her to appointments and stuff like that. However, she's kind of a small lady herself and isn't even available the day of the wedding. We've looked into hiring or renting assistance of any kind. But we put almost all of our money towards the venue, which my parents insisted on for a centralized location. They've been taking control of the wedding and I don't have the best relationship with them. And it was one of the most affordable. No one in the family has yet to volunteer to help either physically the day of or financially. So we're pretty much on our own. My main concern comes from her potentially pushing herself too hard to get around, which has happened after the stroke and put her health at further risk because she's trying to continue living as she did before the stroke and has been hospitalized for it. No, I think you should for sure have a conversation with your family. Say, hey, if grandma wants to come, I need someone to ask for the help. Just because people haven't offered, I'd be like, hey, I need help. Please help me. And then if no one helps you then you're shit out of luck. Then I understand. I mean, like realistically, your grandma sounds like a very petite woman. I would just throw her over your shoulder, hike her up, go to your venue, get a nice chair for her and call it a day. But I know when people are sick, it's a lot more meticulous than that. Am I wrong for not attending my sister's wedding because of her wedding tax? Oh, I can just foreshadow that they want people to pay for their wedding outside of like the wedding gift that you give them. All right, I'm in a bit of a dilemma and I could really use your judgment. So here's the backstory. My younger sister Emily is getting married in a couple of months, and while I'm super happy for her, there's been some drama over the whole wedding planning process. Emily and her fiancé decided to have a small wedding, which I totally understand, but they also decided to impose a wedding tax on family members attending. They have a list of wedding expenses, things like venue decor and catering, and they expect each family member to contribute extra to make it all happen. To top it off, her fiance's family is also chipping in, making the whole thing feel less like a celebration and more like a business deal. When my sister brought this up, I couldn't help but voice my concern. I told her it felt unfair to ask family to cover the cost on top of giving a gift. I suggested maybe doing a more budget-friendly wedding so that everyone could enjoy it, but she brushed aside my suggestions. We had a huge argument about it, and it turned into a shouting match. I told her that weddings should be about love, not financial burdens. In the weeks that followed, she refused to speak to me and even blocked my number for a while. I felt really hurt, but then I received an invitation to the wedding, complete with the note saying that if I wasn't chipped in, I shouldn't bother coming. I've been debating whether to go or not. On one hand, I want to support my sister, but on the other hand, I feel like it's really messed up to ask so blatantly for cash from family. My parents think I should just suck it up, contribute, and attend for the sake of the family, while my friends are telling me I'd be better off skipping altogether. So, am I the asshole for considering not going to my sister's wedding because of the wedding tax? Am I being a jerk for standing my ground on what I believe should be a joyful occasion and not a financial obligation? Small edit. My sister did not make me a bridesmaid, but I'm totally okay with that. She's having her wedding in a really expensive hotel, and so she's asking everyone for money, but she is not paying for anyone's hotel room, and I'm expected to pay around $250 to $1,000. Absolutely not. I don't know what culture, I know times are tough, don't have the wedding. I'm a big, firm believer in living within your means. I hate this type of behavior. And the fact that your parents aren't saying shit to her pisses me off too. As a parent, I'd be like, what is wrong with you for you to think you can ask people for money to throw a wedding for yourself on top of giving you a monetary gift? That is like extremely disrespectful, spoiled, rotten child behavior. And her husband needs to like step up to me like, what is wrong with you? Why would we do that? Don't have the wedding that you can't afford. I want the wedding of my dreams. Work harder in life. People do work hard. I'm kidding. I know there's a lot of you guys out there who do what you need to do to meet ends meet. It's just a wedding. I get it. I'm very pro people having weddings. Don't get me wrong. But just even having a small ceremony in your house with the people you love with good food and company is enough to celebrate you and your new future. You don't need to do all this and cut bridges with people for what? For Instagram pictures? Okay, you guys, we do have an update on this. I'm back with an update on the whole wedding drama. Buckle up because things have escalated and it's a roller coaster ride of emotions, sibling rivalry, and unexpected twists. So after much deliberation, I decided to stand my ground and not attend Emily's wedding. I sent her a heartfelt message explaining my reasons, reiterating that I love her but can't support what feels like exploitation of family when joining in a celebration. I thought that might lead to some sort of resolution or at least a civil conversation. Boy, was I wrong. The day of the wedding rolled around and out of nowhere, I received a text from my mom freaking out because Emily's wedding had fallen into chaos. Apparently, guests who paid the fee were fighting about seating arrangements, and some of the vendors canceled last minute, putting everything in disarray. My mom was in a tizzy, insisting that it was all my fault for not supporting the family during this important event. It's not your event! I took a step back. That wasn't guilt-tripping enough for my vibe. But then I received a call from our aunt, who was furious. She blamed me for Emily's wedding day being ruined, which I find ridiculous considering I wasn't even there. My aunt accused me of causing a divide with the family over money and tarnishing the spirit of the occasion. If only she'd seen the way Emily chose to treat her family like ATMs. As things continued to spiral, I heard through the grapevine that Emily's wedding day somehow went even more volatile. Guests who had fronted the cash got into arguments over the wedding tax and felt cheated when the food didn't match the expensive price tag. And right after dinner, a huge fight broke out. One of Emily's friends was tossed out for making a scene about the money that they had to contribute, and it quickly escalated to shouting, with both the bride and groom caught in the crossfire. But it gets crazier. My sister's new mother-in-law decided to throw her own fit, demanding a refund because she felt cheated on the wedding package. Emily was left sobbing in the corner, clearly feeling overwhelmed, and the whole scene turned into a reality show level of drama. Her fiancé was left apologizing while the bridal party tried to salvage what little grace remained. Eventually, I got another message from Emily conveyed through my mom. It was a half-hearted apology along the lines of, "I'm sorry it turned out this way, but you still owe me." Nothing about clarity on expense or acknowledging how bizarre this whole situation was. Now I'm feeling a mixed bag of emotions. I mean, I do feel sympathy for my sister. No one wants their big day overshadowed by chaos. At the same time, it feels a little satisfying knowing my intuition about the wedding tax was spot on. I guess it shows that I wasn't the crazy one. The whole situation was just flawed from the start. So here I am, still uncertain about my future with my sister. Do I reach out and try to mend things? Is it too late? Or does this create a moment of clarity for her to reflect on what really is important? Am I the asshole for still holding fast to my beliefs about family and finances when it resulted in such explosive fallout? Should I just let her contact me if she wants to dive right back to help her pick up the pieces? What is the right move here? You just step back and let her reach out to you after all the shitstorm has like calmed down. I'm glad. That's why you gotta listen to your intuition. When people's money are involved in things, right? They felt like they threw this party, which they did. If I had my money invested in something and I felt cheaped out, I'm going to be upset. That's why when you invite guests to your wedding, they're going to enjoy it regardless because they don't have any money invested in things. Money makes stuff turn sour. You don't ever mix family and money either. Like, that was a really big lesson to have. And the fact that you took money from so many people, not one other person was like, hey, this is kind of weird. Why would you expect this of me? What's wrong with you? Is this in America? Because is this an American thing? No. This is really weird. I've heard of like the bride's dad paying or like giving like a chunk of money, but not charging all of your guests and your siblings. Like, there's a difference. Like when my sister was getting married, I was like, hey, as a gift to you, I want to pay for this for your wedding, right? That's different. My sister picked everything, but I just gave her a chunk of money for it. Like, this is that. You can do that. She never asked me for it. Absolutely not. But that's something I wanted to do for my sister.